Welcome to another video. So in this video we will be talking about two things and two things only. That is ambient occlusion and normal map, and why it is important as a lighting artist to keep that in mind. The reason is for that when you work with ambient occlusion or normal map, be it that you author it, be it that you got it from a 3D artist, whatever, it's a good idea to be able to spot it. Now some people might go in and check them after receiving it, or assume that you got the right settings. Often that is not the case, especially if you buy assets from asset store. It's often wrong, especially for a lighting artist, so you spend a lot of time fixing it. Now I will use Unity in this case to show you an example of what I mean. So it's your turn. Guess which one is correct. If your answer was the middle one, you are totally wrong. If your answer was the one all the way to the right, you are also totally wrong. So let's figure out what's wrong and what's right. So let's do a quick slide to get some close-up view here. So let's slide them and have a look. Have a look, pay attention. So what's the difference between these two? Right? Think about it, look at it. What's the difference between these two? Think about it and look at it. What's the difference between these two? Think about it, have a look. And what's the difference between these two? Well, in these three cases, the middle one should be pretty obvious. But why is that happening and what's wrong? That's the true question here. So what we're going to look at now is, let's just go for this one. So for this one and this one, pay attention to the fact that down below here, let me see if I can show you with the, you see this area here compared to this area here, there's a huge difference, isn't it? Now if you look at this area, something's odd. So we know the shadow is coming from above because we know the lights are coming from top. So obviously here we are training our eyes to spot the fact that, hey, that shouldn't be where the shadows are. But why is that the case? Well, in this particular case, it's simply because the normal map is inverted. Because it's inverted, it is now giving off the wrong lighting. Okay, so that's number one. Let's go for number two, or a different scenario. So here you might spot also two differences. You can see this one is a bit darker in some areas and this is a bit brighter in some areas. And you can see the same here. You can see this is much brighter and this is much darker. Both of them are wrong for different reasons. Even though you see the shadow below here, you can see, okay, this one has a correct normal map. You can see this one has a correct normal map, right? But still you can see that something's odd with these things. So what's going on? Well, in the left case, in this case, the ambient occlusions map is too bright, and on the right case, the ambient occlusion is black. So let's go have a look. So this is the left one. You can see it's pretty bright in the edges and has some detail in the middle. This one is on the right side, so it's technically, I guess you could say it's inverted. This is how it should be looking like, and that's how it does look like if we go and slide our camera to the one that has the correct ambient occlusion, which is this one. Now this one also has the correct normal map, so this is actually the correct texture in terms of all of the other ones in here. So you might be looking at this one and this one and you go, okay, but they are kind of identical. Well, they are not kind of identical, because on a closer look you'll see that the normal map is inverted, and you also see it's pretty bright everywhere else. So this tells us that this actually has both bad ambient occlusion and a bad normal map. So for the sake of example, let's pick the worst one over here. Let's go for the normal map. Okay, so you can see it has the correct normal map. Now if we change the correct normal map to say an inverted normal map, it will look like this, right? So Control C, Control Y, Control Z, Control Y. See that? It's pretty obvious, right? So in terms of ambient occlusion, it's pretty dark, so we call it black AOR. So let's go and put on the correct one for this one as well. So that would be this one. Put it in. It's pretty different. Control, right? Slightly different. Okay, now we can do the same for this one, just to show you the slight difference that you might notice. Now this one has the bad AOI, which is pretty bright. If I have the correct AO and I do this, you'll see the difference as well. And if I go up close, so you can see that, right? That's the correct one. So if we assign the bad one, like so, see the difference? It's a huge difference. Okay, now there's more to it. The reason that there is a difference is also the ability to adjust it. Now if I adjust the correct one, you can see I can increase and reduce the ambient occlusion, and it's within the creases, right? It's within the creases of these areas that we have assigned. Now if I go to this one and I increase and reduce it, you can see that it's increasing and reducing it correctly as well. That's because it's not the wrong ambient occlusion, but you can notice the difference are clearly in the inverted normal map. However, if I go to this one, there is obviously an interesting thing that's going to happen is when I slide it, not a lot of differences occur. The reason for that is it's such a bad AO map that it doesn't have enough information to even make the difference. In contrast, if I do that with the black one, you can see it has the opposite effect, that it's brightening, over brightening, similar to the one to the right, and then making it dark. So if I slide the one that has a bad ambient, you can see it's brightening it even more around the creases when it should be darkening it. See that? Now if we look at the bad ambient, this is the bad one, you can see it's brightening up these areas. These ones are already there, right? So let's have a look again. See that? It's brightening those areas. Now for this one, when we did this, you can see it's brightening everything because it's all black, right? It's evenly black, so I'm adjusting evenly everything as well. So these are some of the things to keep in mind when you do your lighting. Please train your eye to spot these, because you'll notice these things even clearly when you are moving around with your light. I will see that it does have a different look and feel for everything, and it's even more apparent if you turn off a couple of things and then you move your camera with a different light, and it's subtle, and it gets a bit harder for some people to spot these differences. That's why it's very important to be aware of it, because sometimes it doesn't make sense, right? So you can see here, this one goes in, this one goes out, but that's the opposite here, because it's an inverted normal map. So this one comes out and this one goes in and this go down. That's why you have these weird inverted shadows, because the normal map is used for lighting a lot. So that's it. I hope you like it. like, subscribe, share, support me on my YouTube algorithm. I'll try and make some more content for you guys. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.